you're non-US citizen, non-US resident, you don't spend too much time in the US. In this case, US LLCs are just a no-brainer. The US LLC can be 100% tax-free, so you have just no accounting, no headache, no bureaucracy.
Also, one thing that changed a lot for me is private processing. There's no market in the world that has that comfort, confident, and just perfect solution for you. That's one thing I always see happening with people that are just starting out. They have a dropshipping store, they get into issues, Shopify holds your money, and a lot of problems that can occur, and the customer experience is not fully optimized. Private processing can change the whole dynamic of the business. There we are, brother. We have a lot of questions in the community about a lot of different things in e-com. I think there's a lot of unclarity. So it's good to do a sit-down video and explain some stuff, have some clarity on it. People always ask me, hey, how do you have your processing done? How do you avoid payment holds? How do you make sure to avoid taxes? And I'm here with the expert. So it's good to have you here. I want to talk about some certain things that might help out to a lot of people. I think it's very valuable to drop some knowledge on it. Yeah, let's start with US LLC.
Nice.
How is that structured? How did it start for me, actually? Maybe we can take back on when I was first on that call on setting up a US LLC. How did that go? And why did we decide to go for that?
Yeah, so first, it's nice to be here on this videos, and welcome again to the Wall Street of Dubai, here at the Emirates Towers. And yeah, US LLCs are really important. I mean, you see behind us a lot of different flags, different watches from different time zones, the world flag. It's all to show you basically that you need to build an international structure and to get the best out of different countries around the world, because there's no country which is the best in anything. One country is the best for company setups, the other country is the best to live, and you need to pick basically and to build this international structure. And US LLCs are really, really, really important. And most of our clients and most of the successful e-commerce entrepreneurs in Difaino's community have a US LLC or need a US LLC. So let's take a deep dive into this topic.
Sounds good. First question is, what I get on a daily basis a lot, why US LLC? And why not a Hong Kong company or maybe a local Dutch company or whatever? Why is US LLC the best option for you to start processing?
So overall, US LLCs are just a no-brainer. Why is it? Most of the people in your community are non-US citizens, non-US resident. And if you're non-US citizen, non-US resident, you don't spend too much time in the US, you don't build physical presence in the US. In this case, a US LLC can be 100% tax-free. So you have no taxes, no accounting. Why is it? Because US LLCs are normally tied to a US person and you need to file US income tax. But if you are not in the US, means you don't need to file income tax. So you have just no accounting, no headache, no bureaucracy, and you will need this US LLC anyways because it's universal. Why? Number one, the reputation is amazing. You know, everybody in the world, if countries hear US, it's how it is. US still has the best reputation in the world. If you say, hey, I have a company in Belize or in Panama, everybody thinks, it's a tax haven. Nobody is thinking about this in the US. And because nobody is thinking about it in the US and the reputation is so great, it means banking access is great, payment processing access is great. Why? Yes, a lot of people watching news now about BRICS and changing world order, but believe me, this takes a long, long, long time. And right now, US is the world leader. Nothing is changing there. The US is controlling the world. And if you just look at where most software companies, payment processing companies, just all companies are headquartered and located, they are still from the US. So look at Stripe, for example. It's in the US. And yeah, the US just gives you access to everything. And it's just a no-brainer. Again, a no-brainer. Doesn't matter which business you do, because let's say you need to receive a few invoices. Somebody needs to send you money. Why shouldn't you use your US LLC, which is no tax, no accounting, no headache? And number two, you can structure US LLC totally anonymous, Because, and this is not some shady thing and you hide something. No, it's actually the law to make LLCs anonymous in Wyoming. Why is it? Because in Wyoming, you can't do it any other way. You need a registered agent from Wyoming, from the US. And this registered agent is the owner of your Wyoming LLC in the public register. So if somebody wants to do a lawsuit against you, against a US LLC, and they Google it, they try to find the owner in the public register, they just see John Wayne from the US, and you are fully protected. But this John Wayne, this registered agent, doesn't have any control about your company. Zero control. He can't open bank accounts, nothing. Because in the operating agreement, which is not publicly available, the operating agreement says that you are the owner and only you can open bank accounts for the LLC. And now the next advantage, even this corporate bank accounts in the US don't have data exchange. So while every country around the world needs to exchange data to the US, Switzerland included, all countries, the US is not exchanging data to anybody, at least for corporate bank accounts. So you have just full anonymity, full asset protection. Nobody can take these assets from you. It's perfect for your e-commerce business because you have the best banking access, payment processing access. US is overall the biggest market in the world. So if you make 1 million in a European country, it's easy to make 10 million in the US. Why? You just have 5 or 10 times more people in the US. Everybody pays with credit cards. It's the easiest country to find affiliates, influencers. It's just easy to expand. So overall, the US is just a no-brainer for basically 20 different reasons. While other countries like UAE, Hong Kong, for example, you mentioned Hong Kong. Hong Kong is great, but it's not a no-brainer. Hong Kong is good in certain cases, while US LLCs are cheap, easy to maintain, and you will always use it. I never saw one person who was setting up a US LLC and saying after 1 year, oh, I was not using this company at all. It never happened. Because at the moment where you have your US LLC, your mindset shifts and you think, I can do this, I can receive money there. There are just endless amounts of possibilities. And now you have changes with Trump, which makes it even better to incorporate in the US. And again, it's easy. You can do it fully remotely. You know, for example, if you set up a US LLC with banking, with payment processing with us, we can do everything remotely. You don't need to fly anywhere. It's not a decision even. It's not like you need to plan something and shift something. Do it today, you know.
Yeah.
Start and you will use the US LLC.
There's two things that got me over the line as well, and one of those things were credit. The availability to credit for you as a business owner when you go to US. I don't know how many Amex Platinum cards you were able to get sourced, but it allowed me and myself as a business to leverage credit and scale harder without having the right financials for it, if that makes sense. And with a Hong Kong company or even with local companies, wherever you're from, that's very difficult to do. I think US is very credit focused, and as soon as you have that ITIN, then that gets rolling, especially as a business owner. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't like the US, for example, just look at this basics. American Express, where's American Express from? You know, where is it connected? It's all connected to the US, and right now, that's how the system works. And if you fly to the US, for example, if you do business in the US, very soon you realize that basically all this wealth in the US is based on printing money, because the US has its arms all over the world, and China still, if they want to make more money, they need to export more. The US can just print more money, you know, and import more. And it's the system. And once you make business, once you make good money, you realize this. Why? Because in every country around the world, banks, for example, are very conservative. While in the US, they push you basically, hey, do you want money? Hey, we want to give you money. So once you make 1 million per month, at this time, I didn't care about financing because I never saw the need. But now every day I had calls from companies telling me, hey, free money. Do you want money? Do you want merchant cash advance? Do you want funding? I said, no, I don't need it. Okay, then I go to my bank. And my banker says, hey, let's go to the other room. I have some financing specialists. I said, but why should I? You see how much money I have on the bank. But why not more money? You can scale more. You can do more acquisitions. You can just do everything faster. And the US is based on the system. There are hundreds, thousands of these companies who want to give you funding. And when you make money, it's very easy. There's not much documentation. For example, if you have good payment processing, you can get merchant cash advance in 1 day. For example, if you make 2 million revenue per month, tomorrow you can get 4 million. And they only want to see your last bank statements, they want to see your website, and you have the money in a few days. So it's very easy to go, and yes, you just get flooded with money. And it's still, we are talking about, and we will talk in the other video about the Middle Eastern dream, but I still think the American dream is real. Why? Because many things are maybe not good in the US. You have a lot of homeless people and many things are not great. But if you really want to get rich, the US system is still the same. It's maybe even better than in the past. Why? Because 200 years ago, I needed to drive with a boat there for 30 days. And in 30 days now, I have a US LLC and already made 5 million, you know? So the system is absolutely great.
True. Definitely agree with that. As well as one thing that sorry unspoken about is the demand for private equity and buying companies. So we in a community, we really focus on longevity, building a actual brand that's sustainable and not just some small little dropshipping store that has a payment hold and is out of business. And that positioning that allows you to also exit companies, sell companies. And the demand for US-based companies is way higher than, let's say, a Hong Kong company. And never, ever in my life, I heard someone selling a US or a Hong Kong-based company. And just by swapping it to a US LLC allows you to actually sell a company. That's a game changer.
Yeah, 100%. I think that many countries sound good on paper, but already to even get access to Hong Kong or get access to Singapore, for example, for us as Europeans, it's not that easy, you know. While to get access to the US market, I mean, it's based on foreigners, you know. If you spend some time in Miami, you realize, oh, everybody speaks Spanish here. You know, the US is really diverse. And it's based on foreigners, and immigrants have the advantage that many times they have anyways better work ethics. So it's easy to get access to this market, easy to have access because everything is anyways English speaking. And we are, I mean, if really just all viewers now, just go to your YouTube channel and make a list of the people that you follow and just look of how many people come from America. 60%, 80%, you know.
Yeah.
I make this joke sometimes to people who say, I don't like America. And then I say, okay, now just look at which country actually really influenced you the most. Look at all influencers, all mindsets that you have, and tell me who influenced you the most. In most cases, it's the US. And yeah, exits are extremely easy because that's, again, you get flooded with money, you know. And also if you have an e-commerce store, I mean, you can have an access in a few days, you know. For example, now we had one business partner. He wanted to sell his store. Took me 1 day to find another client who wanted to buy something and asked me every day, hey, do you have something which I can buy, you know? So it's easy with US LLCs. And then it's even more easy. Why? Because these people are already incorporated in the US, already using the US system. So now to do an acquisition is easy, even if they don't have the money, because now they can just leverage the US system to get funding and to do this exit or to make this acquisition anyways. While if you sell something now in Hong Kong, in general, it's good because many people have good bookkeeping and auditing in Hong Kong, but to actually find a buyer takes more time on the ground. And it's just more difficult to build this connection. So yeah, exits are also great in the US. And also the whole mechanics, because let's say you want to expand to the US market, it's easy for us. Why? We have 10 fulfillment partners. Today we can give you the contacts, you contact them, and they do the fulfillment for you in the US. All remote. US LLC remote, banking remote, payment processing remote, fulfillment agreement remote. You don't need to do anything there. My business partner makes a few million per month and he has never been in the US, you know. That's how easy it is. So while, for example, if you're in Europe, it's not bad. You can make good money in Europe, but already all these different countries, all these different languages, different VAT in every country, all the different taxes that you can't avoid, you know. It's like a lot of headache, while the US is just this big thing where you can just sell a lot, make a lot of money, and there's still no comparison in the world already because it's so big, you know. I mean, the amount of wealthy people, wealthy companies, it's endless. Yes, Russia is big, but try to get into the Russian market, you know.
Yeah.
And also still the law is good because you can rely on the law at the end of the day. If you have a company, if you want to buy something, if you want to exit something, it's easy to hire a lawyer and everything will work properly. So yeah, exits are also great. Acquisitions are great. And if you look only at acquisitions, you see there this award from Dan Pena, QLA seminar. The Dan Pena seminar is only about acquisitions, how to make your first 100 million, basically only by acquisitions. And then I saw this connection to e-commerce because then I realized, hey, I could get 20 million today, you know, in funding because I have the bank credibility, I have the bank connections. And I asked him, what's the best place for acquisitions? He said, of course, US. I mean, where else, you know?
Yeah.
UK would be not bad, but you see the UK is falling apart. And you can still make good money, you know? Just because the country is falling apart doesn't mean you cannot make good money. It's still possible. But just the amount of possibilities, I mean, go to Biz, Buy, Sell and look at how many 17,000 businesses are for sale right now in the US. Okay, now these businesses are for sale. How do I get the money? With e-commerce. You need more money. You have the funding based on your e-commerce business and your bank credibility and the payment processing. So the holistic system makes it the perfect system. It's a cash cow and you don't even need to live there. And that's why it's so amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, one thing that changed a lot for me and also for other people, also in the community as well, is private processing. There's no market in the world that allows you to go private processing and has that comfort, confident, and just perfect solution for you to have peace of mind when it comes to processing. Obviously, what I just said, creating the longevity, sustainability for your e-commerce business to eventually even sell it or just scale it to a harder level, leveraging credit and going to a higher state. Processing. That's one thing I always see happening with people that are just starting out. They have a dropshipping store, they get into issues. One thing that's so unspoken about that Shopify holds your money and a lot of problems that can occur and the customer experience is not fully optimized. Private processing can change the whole dynamic of the business. And why is that something that's so necessary for an e-commerce business or a business in general?
Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, if you look at every business, e-commerce included, you only have a few things that you really need to do, right? You need to get traffic, you need to sell. And to sell properly, you need to receive payments. And you can lose all clients if you can't receive payments in a certain way. So for example, in all Western countries, most people pay with credit cards. Yes, I know in Europe, many people ask for Klarna, for PayPal. Also important, very easy to solve this, but most important are obviously credit card payments. And the issue with regular payment processing is it works always for a limited amount of time. So overall, in the whole banking and payment processing world, you have real banks, real payment processors, and you have fintech banks, and you have payment aggregators. What's the difference? For example, a lot of you guys complain about Wise or Revolut. And the same, like a lot of you guys complain about Stripe, Shopify payments, or Airwallex. Why is it? Because Revolut, Wise are not real banks. They are basically just a fintech platform in between. So there's you, the clients, this fintech platform, then comes the real bank, and then comes the central bank. So they are under the mercy of the real bank, and this real bank is under the mercy of the central bank. So if you do one wrong transaction, they have to block you. Why? Because the bank is telling them, block this client. If not, then we block you and you lose your payment license. You know, for example, Revolut got blocked here for 5 years in the UAE because they did a few mistakes. So they can't afford these mistakes. The same is with Stripe, for example. Why? Stripe is just a payment aggregator. They are not the real payment processor, which means it's basically they have just an account with a real payment processor under a bank, and you just have an account with them. So you basically have a sub-account of the real account, which means it's nothing. It means, yes, there's fast onboarding because they are just a technology platform. You send a few documents, the login looks nice, right? You have a nice dashboard and everything, and it all works perfectly in the beginning. The problem is, again, you just have the sub-solution, which means sooner or earlier, because these platforms are not created for high level businesses, you will get blocked or restricted once you do one mistake. And this mistake can be even something small, like you scale too fast, you know. A lot of people get restricted and have money on hold because they scale too fast, because this is high risk in the algorithms. If you scale too fast, also with banks, if all of a sudden you receive a lot of money, it's high risk and they hold your funds and people don't understand it and go crazy. The same like if you do international business, borderless business, it's high risk for a payment processor. If you do business in the US and in Europe and in the Middle East, it's high risk. Or if you sell government services like we do, or if you sell high-risk products. There are just so many small risks. It can be even small risk like just by accident you have a different support phone number on your website compared to Stripe or Shopify payments, and they directly put you into the scam, basically. So there are a lot of risk. And the point is, let's say we have Switzerland behind me. Wealthy people who are putting 100 million in Swiss bank accounts, not in Wise, you know. And it's the same with e-commerce. E-commerce people, if they do 100 million, they use a real payment processor, a real bank, and not just Stripe or Shopify payments, because they don't care about you. You are just a number, and it's okay. These are good companies on a certain level until you make 500,000 per month. Because until this level, normally, these platforms work perfectly fine, right? Most people, if they do everything right and we can help them to make everything right, Wise, Revolut, Relay, Stripe, Shopify payments, Airwallex don't create any problems. But once you make more than 500K per month, these platforms are simply not created for this amount of money, because even if you make 50 million, you still need to contact the online chat. And if you make a mistake, the online chat is not available anymore. And that's why we get these calls every day. These dogs, they blocked me, you know, I will find them, I will kill them. And I say, bro, I heard this 100 million times. You will not do anything.
I remember that we was in touch, I think a few years back. They had over 7 figures in what was it, Mercury account.
Yes.
And he was like, Difaino, what are you doing? And that's when we set the first private processing of private banking actually up. And now if you say secure, so also with big wires or even incoming wires, inbound wires, it's all safe and secure. And I even have my own contact person, and so such peace of mind. And that, that's great. That's a must have, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a must have. It's the most important thing in business, more important than anything else, basically, because especially if you already have the brand, you have the traffic, you have the clients, it's all reliant on banking and payment processing.
Yep.
And this is usually the stage. Nobody should worry about this when they just get started out. But once they make a lot of money, I saw it many times that people waste basically 50% of their time just with banking and payment processing. And this can't be the case. So it's really important. And people think that, oh, now I make a lot of money, I will always have issues and the bank is asking me questions. It's not true, because if you have Chase, JPMorgan private banking, they don't even want you if you send 50K wires, you know.
Yeah.
They are used to sending 100K, 500K, 5 million wires. It's just the norm for them. And the same like the high-level processors, they will simply not accept you. So private processing only starts to make sense with 500K per month. If not, they don't even accept you. So they are specialized on this high level. And I saw many times that with businesses, especially also businesses who are like high risk, just because I basically got them good banking and payment processing in 1 month, they got from 500K to 2.5 million sometimes. Because we had gray zone businesses or high risk businesses who were only able to accept crypto payments, no credit card payments. But what do you think what happens with this traffic once you just accept regular credit card payments? It's 5x. That's just the norm. So it's absolutely important and crucial. And many people do it too late. Why? Because yes, you can get Shopify payments in a few days, simple KYC. But real banks, real private processing takes some time. It takes 3 weeks, maybe 2 months, but then you have the stable solution forever. And that's why you should get started as soon as possible, because all these things take some time, you know. To get your ITN in the US takes a few months. To get good local banking takes a little bit. To get good payment processing takes a little bit. But it's the bulletproof solution. which means you will never ever have to worry again. I never knew one client who lost his Chase account. I never knew one client who lost his private processing account. Why? Because it's connected to a few different merchant accounts. You're fully underwritten by the banks, let's say with 3-4 banks, who all accepted the payment processing for you. So even if something happens, you have Black Friday and everything goes crazy and you have 20% chargebacks, you're still underwritten with multiple banks. So it's what you have to do. And once you've done it, now you have a tax-free company, good banking, good payment processing forever. Now you don't need to worry about it anymore at all. You can fully focus on your business and scale your business, and then nothing can be basically destroyed in your business. But 50% of all people, because they are born broke, they find always a way to destroy everything that they've built with one simple, stupid thing, you know, because they think somehow, oh, I will be broke again in the future. Just inside they think, I am born broke, I will be broke again. You know, this is not forever. And somehow they do exactly the steps to make themselves broke again. Why? You're running $1 million business here. Whenever did you had the possibility in your 20s to run $1 million business and you were too lazy to get good banking at the right time? Then you deserve it, you know?
Yeah. At what point does it make sense for an e-commerce business owner to start setting this all up?
So at the moment where you start to make money directly, you need to build the right company structure and get the right residency. And we will talk in another video about residency. Why? Because many times it's already too late for many people because they're already in the European tax system. Now also Netherlands in 2 months starts the exit tax. And these things just make it more difficult to even get out of the system because now you have your family there, your business there, you're fully in the tax system, banking there. And to get out, fulfillment there, products there, employees there, it takes a long time. While if you're young and you're just getting started, to move to the UAE, to set up a US LLC, maybe set up another entity, you can do it in a few days. So the earlier you do this, the better. And it always depends on the type of business, depends on to which countries where you want to sell, because of course there are a lot of people who are fully successful with their brand in Europe. They should continue to sell in Europe. There are still many ways to avoid taxes or reduce the taxes. So we need to build a holistic structure. This is something which needs to be done in the beginning. When it comes to banking and payment processing, 500K per month. So once you guys make 500K per month, this is the time where you need to get good local banking and payment processing.
Agreed.
Yes. So I think overall, this is the most important thing to understand. 500K per month, good banking, payment processing. The residency part is really important, but we will cover this residency part in another video.